It's back to school season, which means new classrooms, new friends, and unfortunately some new germs. So I took a trip to the Chattanooga Children's Clinic to talk to a doctor about what you can do to keep those little ones safe this back to school season.
The minute kids hit back, we all have this little, we call it the little 1 week lull, where everyone doesn't want to miss those first couple of days of school, and then it's like bam, it hits you. And we start seeing the strep and, the viruses and the runny noses and the coughs and the congestion.
So do you see an uptick of a lot of illnesses coming kind of after that first 2 weeks?
For sure, everyone's been home, kind of protected in their own home environment, and then everyone just gets back and it's just like, everyone's hugging, touching. It's like germ fest, I call it. I'm like, kids go back to school and it's a germ fest. So it's a lot of exchange of germs for sure.
Now, to try to avoid this germ fest, what would you say kids should do at home and at school?
You can never get enough good hand washing, hand sanitizer. Obviously, when soap and water, I feel like sometimes kids are very quick with soap and water, and that's why the hand sanitizers are a little bit more effective in killing germs. From a parent standpoint, try not to send your kids to school, especially when they're running fever. Again, kids are so social and they love to go, and some of them don't want to go without seeing their friends, and so they're like, oh, here's your dose of Tylenol and go to school and you'll be fine. And that's probably the peak time when you're shedding a lot of these viruses and you're probably most contagious. Just having a good healthy diet, making sure everyone's getting their vitamin C, and again, keeping up with the good hand washing, especially if you have a newborn at home. Newborns are very susceptible to a lot of illnesses, so those older children that are coming home and seeing their sibling and they're like, oh, and then they're loving on them. So I'm very particular, those kids, especially under 2 months, protecting them from that and being like, hey, how about we wash our hands first? Let's not kiss the baby on the face, because they're very prone to, pick up these illnesses, and then a fever in a newborn is a big deal. So we want to try and avoid that.
Now, Dane, I thought this was super interesting because when I think back to school sickness, I think right away. I think the moment you step into the classroom, you get sick that first week. But as Dr. Memon was telling me, it's within the first couple weeks when things really start to pick up, which is kind of around this time. This is the time when things are really starting to vamp up in terms of sicknesses because, people are getting a little more, I would say, lax on their routines. You get back to school season, you're really strict on your sleep schedule, on your eating habits, but as those weeks progress, you start to relax a little bit more, you start to get a little less sleep, you start to care a little less about the foods that you're eating, and that's when those germs really start to kick in. They've been brewing in those classrooms, the hands in their mouth, the hugging, just anything involving a classroom. So it's interesting, it's not right away, it's kind of now when we should keep an eye out to make sure we're not losing those habits or those good tips and tricks, with the healthy eating, the good sleep schedule, all that fun stuff.
We've talked about it a little before. Did they ever mention the fact that your immune system in the summer months might have had like a weekend effect because those students are not around their peers during that time?
Exactly, yeah. Like when you are home during the summer, you're outside, you're getting that fresh air, you're not seeing as many students. Even if you're doing a summer camp, you're in the wilderness, you're in the outdoor air. So as soon as you get back into school, you're in those indoor areas with a lot less, I guess, clean, healthy air. So yeah, our immune systems are a little more weakened when we go back to school, and that's when we really start to see these diseases and these sicknesses start to ramp up.
Hopefully everyone is staying healthy and, around this season getting vaccinated for flu and even COVID-19 as well. Yeah. Very important. All right.